Good evening. This is Sunday Express on KBC Channel 1, being the June the 18th, a day where we mark Father's Day. And as such, I'd want to honor all the men out here who have been intentional and present as fathers, including my very own Stanley Manyara. But before we speak matters of Father's Day and how this day was commemorated, how about we have a sneak peek on what has been making headlines.
Ile program yetu ya housing, kiini yake kubwa sio nyumba, kiini yake kubwa ni ajira. That's what we are looking for.
We have a plan. President Ruto defends the Finance Bill 2023 and says it carries goodies for millions of Kenyan youth. Picking up the pieces, stories of resilience and the undying spirit of traders at the Mutindwa market.
It is both a blessing and a responsibility to be a father. So I wish that God may continue to bless all of the fathers, even as they carry the responsibility.
And Happy Father's Day, celebrating the men and the role they play in the family unit. And down but not out, Kenya's Harambee Stars falter in Mauritius.
Good evening, I'm Regina. Manyara, and our sign language interpreter tonight is Anne Wangeshi. In the course of this particular program, we're also going to be talking about shoring up capacity of our children amidst emerging issues when it comes to security, either man-made or even natural calamities. So do keep it right here for that candid conversation. But first things first, let's bring you up to speed with what has been making headlines in the last 12 hours or so. And we start off with what the president's diary there, as he was conducting a Thanksgiving mass where he went further to say that the finance bill indeed has so much to offer ordinary Kenyans. Here's a look.
The president was speaking during a Thanksgiving service at the ACK Milimani Church in Lurambi constituency, Kakamega County, where he also participated in a fundraiser towards the construction of a conference center at the church.
Na mimi nitawasindikiza na milioni 5.
President Ruto will then use the opportunity to make a case for the housing levy as proposed in the Finance Bill 2023.
Singapore ilikuwa slum kama Kibera. Leo ni first world katika dunia hii, kwa sababu walipanga wakafanya mambo yao ya housing, wakafanya mipango ingine. Sasa mimi nataka niulize nyinyi wa Kenya, kama mnataka tuwe kama Singapore, ama mnataka tuwe kama Malaysia, ama hata tuwe bora kuliko hao wote, we must make the decisions they made. Hatuwezi kuwa kama Singapore, kama kazi yetu ni ku make convenient, unajua, unaweka sufuria kwa kichwa, unaenda kwa barabara hapo, unatangatanga, alafu unarudi. Kenya itabadilika namna gani?
The president said his administration's blueprint for the country's development hinged on the proposed finance bill and urged members of parliament to support it as the bill heads to the committee stage Tuesday next week.
Nauliza nyinyi Kakamega, mnasema tuende barabara hiyo ya kuteleza ya kwenda kwa madeni, ama tukusanye ushuru kila mtu alipe? Si tukusanye ushuru kila mtu alipe? Ama mnasemaje? Ndio.
The appeal by the head of state was supported by accompanying leaders, among them Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja and his Kakamega counterpart Fernandez Baraza.
We are supporting your initiative to collect taxes. Hatuwezi kuwa na maendeleo hapa, hatuwezi patiana huduma bila watu kutoa pesa.
You make decisions today that tomorrow these generations that are coming will thank the leadership that we have today.
Ni lazima tueleze watu tuna shida. It is not a personal problem to the president. It is a collective problem to the Kenyan people.
The government has continued its appeal to the citizenry to support and be positive about the Finance Bill 2023 if the high cost of living in the country is to be tamed. Reporting for Sunday Express from Lurambi constituency in Kakamega County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Now, this comes as the bill heads the committee stage at the National Assembly Tuesday next week, where members will debate and vote on all the clauses of the bill, one after the other. Now, on to matters security. At least 10 General Service Unit officers were Sunday injured when an armored personnel carrier vehicle they were in ran over an improvised explosive device. The device is suspected to be was planted on the road by Al-Shabaab militants at Mlima Wafaru between Pandanguo and Witu in Lamu County.
More than 10 GSU officers were aboard the vehicle and were in their routine patrol within the Pandanguo route, which borders the vast Boni Forest, where multi-agent security operation is ongoing to flush out militants believed to be hiding inside the dense Boni Forest. Lamu West Deputy County Commissioner Gabriel Kioni said the affected officers are from Pandanguo GSU camp and were on their normal patrol in the area when the vehicle ran over IED explosive. It is after the incident when militants came out of the forest and tried to attack the officers after the vehicle rolled and exchange of fire ensued for some time. A team of KDF soldiers and Special Operation Unit arrived for reinforcement and were also ambushed but managed to contain the situation. The Sunday morning attack comes a fortnight after Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki visited Lamu for a 3-day tour to assess the security situation in the county. The Sunday attack comes in the wake of the marking of 9 years since the terrorists attacked Mpeketoni and surrounding areas, killing 90 people and displacing many. Michael Mondiga for Sunday Express.
That is quite unfortunate there, as our security personnel continue bearing the brunt of insecurity. Now back to matters finance bill, where proponents and opponents of the finance bill continue to defend their stance on the contentious bill, which went through the second reading in Parliament last week. The bill on Tuesday will be tabled before the Committee of the Whole House for amendments before it's subjected to the third reading.
As the Finance Bill 2023 gears for the third and final reading, leaders across the political divide have expressed varied views as MPs prepare for the final vote. Narok County Governor Patrick Ole Ntutu has lauded the county leaders who voted yes to the bill last week, saying it contained tax measures that will help raise revenue to fund counties.
We are broke. Kabisa kama Wakenya. Zile deni zote zilikuwa zimeshafika na inatakikana kulipo. Kabisa kama nasambani mimi ni mmoja wao, tunataka pesa kwa kaunti. MPs wanataka CDA. Wafanyikazi ya serikali wanataka pesa ya kulipwa mshahara.
Speaking during a Sunday service at AIC Narok Town Church, Governor Ntutu described the MPs as real patriots who do not want to see the country sink further in debt.
Wale wadosi kama Ole Ntutu ambaye anapata pesa mingi na kuna suti nzuri, alipe hiyo ushuru ndio tuone kama ekonomi yetu itastabilize.
Najua walishtuka kwa sababu mama alisema yes. Si ndio? Na nikamwambia yes, I said yes. Because my vote would not have made a difference.
In Kiambu, Githunguri Member of Parliament Gathoni wa Mushomba, who broke ranks with her Kenya Kwanza colleagues and voted against the bill, says she has no regrets.
Mimi ninaapa ya kwamba nitafanya kazi yangu kama mjumbe bila kuogopa na bila kuingiza baridi.
Tiati Member of Parliament William Kamket defended his move to support the finance bill, accusing the opposition of living in denial.
Hiyo upingamizi ni upingamizi ya wale watu bado wako na mauchungu kwa kushindwa kura. Kila mtu akubali kushindwa. Hakuna serikali itaendeshwa bila budget.
The National Assembly will take the final vote for the bill Tuesday afternoon. For Sunday Express, I'm Ben Troy Njue.
And Tuesday it is. Now the government says manufacturing, trade, trade use and abuse of illicit alcohol and narcotic drugs in central Kenya and other parts of the country is a serious security threat. Speaking in Maragua constituency, Murang'a County on Sunday, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki said the country is at risk of losing an entire generation to alcohol and drug abuse.
Interior and National Administration Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki said the government will not backtrack in the fight against abuse of alcohol and narcotics.
Hizo pombe, ile nguvu tumeweka katika kupigana na magaidi, wezi wa mifugo na wale wakora wanaojificha kwa dini, nguvu kama hizo ndio tutatumia kupigana na wale wanauzia watoto wetu madawa ya kulevya na pombe ya sumu.
He said political leaders must be at the forefront of the fight against illicit and poisonous alcoholic drinks and narcotic drugs. Meanwhile, the cabinet secretary says religious extremism also ranks in the list of national security threats.
Tutawafurusha, tutawanyorosha na haitatokea tena kamwe katika nchi yetu mtu kutumia dini kuleta maafa na vifo vya Wakenya ambao hawana hatia. It will not happen.
He noted that the government respects the freedom of worship but will not bend backward to accommodate wrong teachings.
The government will not backtrack in the quest to put in place a framework that will help us ascertain all people who are ministers of religion. We must know them by their name. We must know them through the umbrella organizations of different faiths, that they are people of good conduct, they are people who are qualified, and they are people who have been authorized to do what they are doing.
The Interior Cabinet Secretary said the government will remain truthful in its handling of the massacre in Shakahola and no one will be left still holed up in the forest. Beatrice Gatonyang-Etich, Sunday Express.
Now, someone once said that no matter how tall you become, your father will always be the one you look up to. Here's Alan Oko with more.
Uhuru Park in Nairobi County. Here we meet Mike Jemonge. Mike is a happy father to have taken a day off to treat his family to a relaxing day out.
Tuweze angalau kuhamasisha kila mmoja tujuliane hali. Si lazima bibi yangu ama mamangu ani wish happy Father's Day.
Just like Mike, Hesbon too is a father, a proud one in fact.
And I think for me as a father today I'm very happy because I've been celebrated by my wife and my two daughters. And I want to encourage fathers outside there that this is a special day to remind you that the best gift you can give your sons and daughters and your entire family.
His daughters are not shy to show their love. Speaking of ladies and what fathers mean to them,
my father is a good father because he likes providing for us. He's very kind and I've loved him as a father.
We've elevated celebrating mothers so much. Maybe we should do better in doing equal in terms of also celebrating fathers.
My dad is important to me because, I mean, if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be here.
For many fathers like Mike and Hesbon, despite Sunday being a Father's Day, it is just another day out with family.
As we celebrate Father's Day, mine would be to wish every member of society to take a moment, not only today but every day.
Kila mtu ambaye ni dad, anaitwa dad. I feel appreciated, aji-accept venye alivyo, hata maisha ikiwa ngumu.
Others like Kenny chose to make the most of the day, spending time with family in church, reflecting on the purpose of fatherhood.
It is both a blessing and a responsibility to be a father. So I wish that God may continue to bless all of the fathers, even as they carry the responsibility.
Fathers, you know, the Lord gave us to be the priests of the house. It's our role to be responsible, to look after our families, our own families, and even those who are around us who are struggling.
Someone said that a father is someone you look up to no matter how tall you grow, and that no music is so pleasant to the ears as that word father.
Happy Father's Day to everyone.
Happy Father's Day.
In the whole world, happy Father's Day.
I pray for all blessings of this Father's Day, and I pray that let us be responsible.
When Tishal fathers a happy Father's Day.
Nataka nichukue nafasi hii katika hii siku ambayo ni siku ya kusherekea akina baba duniani, nipongeze wanaume wote wa hapa Maragwa, wanaume wote wa Murang'a, wanaume wa Kenya, wanaume wa dunia nzima kwa kazi nzuri, kazi ngumu ya kuwa baba.
Well, it's still Father's Day, and we believe that dads, good fathers, go to heaven. And for those who are not with us here, but they were intentional and present in their responsibilities as dads and fathers, we honor you in your absentia. And for the men who are still here, who are playing the role of a priest in their family, prophets for the children's future, protectors and providers, we honor you. Happy Father's Day. Now, traders in Buriburu's Mutindwa market have begun rebuilding their stalls days after losing their entire stock in a fire. Some of the traders say they have had to dig into their savings, while others have had to seek credit to start afresh. Here's Regina with the story of resilience and the undying spirit of community committed to building from ground up despite numerous challenges.
5 days ago, an inferno razed Mutindwa market to the ground. The fire destroyed more than 90% of the area, and with it, goods worth millions of shillings. Nelson Ochieng, who sells ladies' wear, has been forced to dig into his little savings to finance the rebuilding of this stall.
One reason why I had to start rebuilding is because of the livelihood. You know, I depend much on this thing, and I'm a direct dependent on it, on this job, and there are also other indirect dependents. So I have no otherwise. For life to continue, I have to. They say that if you fall down, you recollect yourself, you beat just the dust, then you recollect, and you start.
Everyone here suffered a monumental loss. Anya Godhier says she has walked this narrow street for more than 10 years and says she lost goods worth 150,000 shillings and has been forced to borrow money from friends and relatives to remodel her stall.
Pesa kidogo yenye nilikuwa nayo kwanza nikafikisha hapo sababu hakuna pesa, so ni kupiganisha akili pande hii na pande ile, ukijaribu kukopa na tena wenye unakopa pia hakuna pesa.
Many traders here say this is their only source of livelihood and they must rebuild amid the financial challenges. Gideon Mutai, the market manager, says a lot will go into making this market safe and secure going forward.
Tunapambana na hali ya usalama ambayo inapatikana kwa eneo mzima ya Buruburu, and then kuna zile utovu wa usalama za ndani kwa ndani. Za ndani kwa ndani zinakuwa kama kupambana na waizi wale ambao labda mkifunga kazi jioni mkiondoka, kuna wale watavizia jioni usiku kama kuna giza waje wabomwe duka ya mtu fulani apate vitu zimeporwa.
The traders want an assurance that this will remain their area of trade. They want the government to modernize the facility to avert a repeat of the monumental loss. Dorina Range for Sunday Express.
Resilience there, and faith says it's keeping one foot ahead of the other even when you're uncertain of where you're stepping. We take a quick breather. Sunday Express will be back shortly.
Huchagui familia yako, ni zawadi ya Mungu kwako kama ulivyozawadi kwao. Iwapo unakohoa, unahisi uchungu kwenye kifua, uchovu kila wakati, joto jingi mwilini, unakosa hamu ya kula au kupoteza uzito haraka bila kukusudia na kutokwa na jasho jingi usiku, waweza kuwa waugua TB. Nenda hospitalini ukapimwe. Ikibainika ya kwamba ni TB, utapewa dawa, na ukimeza vizuri ulivyoshauriwa na daktari, utapona. TB yaweza kuangamiza jamii yako. Usikubali. Matibabu ni bila malipo katika hospitali zote za serikali.
Welcome to East Africa. This is Safari Rally Kenya.
The WRC Safari Rally is set for June 22nd to June 25th in Naivasha. This year's event, the 7th leg of the WRC calendar, consisting of 19 stages, will see drivers, among them defending champion and series leader Khalid Vampera, battle in what's considered as the toughest rally in the world. KBC Channel 1 will bring the action to your living room, where a total of only 5 stages will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 and the Shakedown exclusive on our Facebook page. Catch the WRC Safari Rally on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Cheza Loto Moto.
Kwa majina naitwa Alex Odur, natoka Kamulu, na show leo imekuwa poa. Nilikuja na confidence nikijua naenda kuwin, na nimewin 100,000 ndio hizi hapa. Wale wanacheza Loto Moto waendelee, ni kitu ya ukweli. Loto Moto, endelea kucheza kila siku.
Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number, weka 757070. Account number, andika neno Loto. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2,000. Lipa, kisha subiri draw.
Good evening, you're watching Sunday Express. Tourism Chief Administrative Secretary Wilson Sosion says plastics and non-biodegradable material continue to pose a threat to turtles and other marine life. Sosion says there is need to sensitize communities living along the Kenyan coast to the importance to rid the ocean of harmful materials so as to protect Kenya's flora and fauna.
Nyali Beach, Mombasa. 148 green turtles are being released into the ocean. Human activity has stacked the odds against these endangered sea creatures. The government is warning that marine life is under a serious threat.
We will appeal to all the users, all Kenyans, when you visit the coast, make sure don't drop any plastic or leave any material along the coastline. This is all about self-responsibility.
Environmentalists say it is important that every citizen embraces such cleanup exercises to save marine life.
And we've appreciated through this short cleaning exercise that our coastline is extremely polluted with plastic and other non-biodegradable materials which are a threat.
Sosion added that the constructions along the beach pose a big threat to turtles.
Human construction and creation of walls and artificial barriers along the coastline. That's a real big threat, and we may end up losing the entire nesting environment for the turtle.
The fishing community is continuously cautioned against consuming turtles because it negates efforts to regenerate the population.
For the generation to come after us to be able to see and enjoy these sea turtles, we are engaging with our community members to give them more public education. That is why we have honorary wardens here. That is why we are talking with the fishermen so that when the sea turtles are caught in the nets, they can be able to release them back.
Principal scientist in charge of marine and coastal conservation at the Kenya Wildlife Research and Training Center, Dr. Mohamed Omar, says they are reviving the sea turtle conservation strategy in a bid to promote the conservation of turtles.
Kuliweka mkakati hapo awali inaitwa Sea Turtle Conservation Strategy ambayo ilienda kwa miaka 10. Sasa tunataka kuireview tena. Tunatengeza action plan mpya ambao tutahusisha Kenya Wildlife Service, itahusika Wildlife Research and Training na Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, Fisheries Department na jamii pia community. It will be a participatory process to try and promote the conservation of turtles.
And from Mombasa County, I am Anboro.
Members of the public in KBC Isiolo County joined Administration, Police and General Service Unit officers in a fun day as a means of promoting police-community relations. The exercise also sought to promote information sharing as a way of curbing insecurity in the region. Oldonyiro Division Assistant County Commissioner Barnabas lauded the initiative dubbed Community Police Open Day, even as he called for it to be replicated throughout the region.
It's not every day you see police officers and members of the public interact in fun games. Here at the KBC area in Oldonyiro Ward in the county of Isiolo, however, the uniformed men and members of the public are deeply engrossed in these fun activities, ranging from football, balancing the egg and gunny sack races. All this is being done with one goal in mind: fostering good relations between the police and the community. Oldonyiro Division Assistant County Commissioner Barnabas Kimoto closed the initiative dubbed Community Police Open Day, saying it helps create better rapport and instill confidence among residents and authorities.
Mahali walipo washirikiana na polisi, waone polisi pia kama ni wanadamu, polisi ni watoto wao, na washirikiane, wapeana habari.
Tunaishi pamoja, tunakula pamoja, na pia tunacheza mpira pamoja. Kwa hivyo tunaenda kanisa pamoja. Sasa tumeelewa hawa ni friends and our brothers and sisters.
The community members who have taken part in this fun activity say there is need for basic communication skills training to improve the literacy levels among them and in the long run increase the information sharing levels.
Ama kujua yani relationship between raia na warani ni wale ambao wamesoma ndo wanaweza jua. Wale ambao hawajasoma ni ngumu sana kujua. Na hata kitambo uwajulishe itachukua muda. So changamoto ni masomo tu.
Najua kusoma unaweza soma hata wakati umezeeka. Kwa hivyo ile hiyo kumbaru ama ile shule inaitwa Chokuti, ile wachungaji, mtoto anachunga mchana alafu jioni anaenda shule.
Isiolo Police Link Assistant Project Officer Emma Akai says they will continue supporting community policing initiatives in the county areas where insecurity incidents have been reported.
And even the community members should be willing to convey information on incidences of insecurity and to the police to inform them on what is happening around.
Yusufar reporting for Sunday Express.
Polisi ni mtu, mtu ni watu. Haya. Members of the public have been urged to embrace lifestyle changing positively and impacting their health. Now speaking during the 9th International Yoga Day celebrations under the theme One World, One Family, Kenyans were challenged to prioritize their mental and physical well-being.
Inhale, stretch your whole body, heels up, come on your toes.
At the Premier Club grounds in Nairobi. Here, soothing music is creating the needed ambience as an instructor leads the large crowd in different postures of yoga. Despite being a very ancient practice, yoga is fast gaining popularity.
I'm really happy that yoga is helping us to battle certain social ills, drugs, substance abuse, alcoholism, and even mental illness. You know that mental illness is now a big challenge for us, especially for our young people.
If you have more and more people practicing yoga, I think you eventually will have a global community that makes, healthier choices, and that is essentially about holistic well-being.
This year's International Yoga Day celebrations featured participants from Embakasi, where the High Commission of India conducted yoga classes for 2 months.
Go for the full cobra pose. Keep your elbows straight, chin up, and hold for a few seconds.
The initiative culminated in a yoga competition where Dismas Bantu, Peter Kiunjuri and Mary Mothoni were ranked first, second and third respectively.
No matter how well you are physically, if your emotional, mental state is not okay, you'll never be okay. And that's the main part of yoga. And that's the part I appreciate so much about yoga.
Stretch more. 10-second hold. 1, 2.
Yoga Day has been celebrated internationally since 2015 after a resolution to celebrate the day was passed in the United Nations in December 2014. Jacqueline Masharia for Sunday Express.
All the facial muscles are relaxed.
Hazina ya fidia ya wanabima, the Policy Holders Compensation Fund, PCF, shirika la kiserikali chini ya hazina ya kitaifa na mipango ya kiuchumi iliyoanzishwa chini ya sheria ya bunge kwa jukumu la kulipa fidia kwa madai ya wanabima waliowekwa chini ya usimamizi wa serikali au wale ambao leseni zao zimebatilishwa. Hazina hii pia ilianzishwa kwa lengo la kuimarisha imani katika sekta ya bima. The Policy Holders Compensation Fund, dhamana ya bima yako.
The National Construction Authority is mandated to undertake research into the construction industry as a vital function that fosters effective knowledge diffusion, innovation, and improved performance of the industry. NCA will host its third Research Dissemination Forum on 20th to 21st June 2023, during which 4 pertinent research studies will be presented. Follow the proceedings live on KBC Channel 1 and the NCA Facebook page, National Construction Authority, and YouTube channel, National Construction Authority, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The National Construction Authority, promoting excellence in the construction industry.
Cheza Loto Moto.
Kwa majina naitwa Alex Edward, natoka Kamulu. Na show leo imekuwa poa. Nilikuja na confidence nikijua naenda kuwin. Na nimewin 100,000 ndio hizi hapa. Wale wanacheza Loto Moto waendelee, ni kitu ya ukweli. Loto Moto, endelea kucheza kila siku.
Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number weka 757070. Account number andika neno Loto. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2,000. Lipa kisha subiri draw.
주먹 꽂는 게 예사롭지가 않던데. 스펙이 느껴지더라고.
그냥 막 내다 꽂은 거야.
신부라는 사람이 도대체 이런 노트를 어떻게 하는 걸까?
김혜일 신부 소환할까요?
신원 확인까지 끝냈습니다.
나이씨, 망할 놈이 IT 강국.
아니 생각해봐, 이건 진짜 창피해 해야 돼.
됐어. 아니 조사를 하시려면 좀 똑부러지게 좀 하세요.
Now, keen focus on the counties where Kakamega County government is adopting the use of technology to improve the quality of grade cows. These, as Busia County farmers are decrying the shortage of cotton seeds. For this and more, from the county's news roundup.
Kakamega County government is adopting embryo transfer technology on a pilot program to improve the quality of the dairy cows in the county. The County Livestock and Veterinary Services Chief Officer Barak George Otieno said they will utilize Kakamega County Dairy Development Corporation Smart Farm to fertilize eggs from where embryos will be distributed to the farmers.
Basically, we want to see if we get high quality dam from the farms and fertilized with a high quality bull semen from wherever, depending on the selection, that we are able to produce embryos that have high quality.
The embryo transfer, the surrogate cow is not contributing any of her genetics.
to the calf that it's carrying in its uterus. It's just a carrier.
Elsewhere, Busia County farmers are decrying the shortage of cotton seeds in the county and are now calling on the national government to intervene in efforts to improve cotton farming in the area.
Serikali ya Kenya inaheshimu ukulima zaidi. It is a backbone of the Kenya economy. Sasa hiyo kufufuliwa majina hizi zote, kama kuna pamba, kama kuna mbegu, tutalima na kitu gani?
And in Bungoma County, 15 suspects have been arrested in a crackdown on illegal water connections. Nzoia Water Services Company Corporate Commercial Officer Ramadan Kubende says the company has lost a great deal of revenue due to the illegal connections.
We know water is a right, but for us to serve you well, you must pay for this water. So avoid at all expense, at all cost, avoid using water without our permission. We also urge the members of the public to report those that they suspect could be consuming water illegally.
Finally, in Nairobi County, a wide range of food prepared with a variety of millets is on offer at the Indian Millets Food Festival currently underway in a hotel in Nairobi to mark the International Year of the Millets. 2 renowned chefs from India were flown into the country to share their culinary arts with some of their Kenyan counterparts. The Indian High Commissioner to Kenya, Namya Kamba, and her counterparts from Jordan, Belarus, Eritrea and Turkey graced the occasion.
I don't think Indian food is too unfamiliar in Kenya. In fact, I think it would be right to say that you are spoiled for choices when it comes to Indian food in Kenya, which you find everywhere here.
Brian Onsom, reporting for Sunday Express.
Well, that effectively puts a cap on Martin's counties, but we're not done and dusted here on Sunday Express. We'll be speaking sports in not too long, and not so much good news, especially for football or soccer lovers, if you like, as the Dodos did that thing to the Stars. So do keep it right here.
Aviator instant game. Be a daring pilot and earn by how much high you can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
Are you a holder of unclaimed financial assets? Surrender unclaimed financial assets today and avoid the last-minute rush. Take advantage of penalties and fines waiver ending June 30th, 2023. Report and surrender unclaimed financial assets today. For more information, visit our website www.ufaa.go.ke/holders or contact us through holders@ufaa.go.ke or call us on 020-402-3000. Do not wait for the June 30th, 2023 deadline. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
The cup with the golden ticket. Mozart Bet Cup. 2 million shillings. CAF Confederations Cup. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet Cup.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Sunday Express Sport. The national football team, the Harambee Stars, lost by 1-0 to host Mauritius in a closely contested friendly match played today at the Côte d'Or International Complex in Port Louis, Mauritius. Saramdaf Kensi scored the lone goal for the island nation in the first half. This match was live on KBC Channel 1.
The Engine Firat Chargers came into the match focused to register their second win after seeing off Pakistan 1-0 on Wednesday. Harambee Stars found themselves trailing after Saramdaf Kensi gave the host the lead in the first half. The island nation held on to register another 1-0 victory. was the third meeting between Kenya and Mauritius as the team met twice in 2015 in the qualifiers for the 2018 World Cup. Harambee Stars used the friendly matches to prepare for upcoming CAF and FIFA assignments slated for November. Kingori Mwangi for Sunday Express.
Now, there's a phrase known as dead as a dodo. The Mauritius national team have basically put a twist to that phrase. Now, let's move away from football and move on to volleyball, where KCB came from a set down to end Kenya Pipeline's unbeaten run after humbling the reigning Kenyan champions by 3-1 in a highly charged Kenya Volleyball Federation Women's League match played at the Manyara National Stadium Indoor Arena. In another match, former league champions Prisons Kenya trounced KDF by 3-1.
Defending champions Kenya Pipeline took charge of the game from the onset, winning the first set 25-22. In the second set, KCB, under the tutelage of veteran tactician Jafeth Munala, came back stronger, bagging the second and third sets 25-16 and 25-16 respectively. Kenya Pipeline struggled in the fourth set, which they lost 25-12 to hand the Bankers a crucial victory.
African Club Championship, we had a tough team in the quarterfinals, a team with the tough services that gave us a lot of problems, but we have worked on our reception since we came back from Tunisia, and I think it has worked for us today.
Losing a game is normal because you cannot tell me you are in a competition and every other day you are going to win all matches. Sometimes you have to lose matches as an eye-opener, as you know how prepared you are or how unprepared you are, something of the sort.
KCB's win ended Pipeline's unbeaten streak this season, with the two sides set to renew their rivalry in the league playoffs later this year.
It is actually a manifestation that the next Olympics, if the team is well supported, we can make a mark at the Olympics this time round as a team sport. It's a very good sign for present and also for the future. So we know the team that is going to go for Challenger Cup and Africa Cup of Nations is going to be a strong team because they are selected mainly from the two clubs that you saw here.
In another match, former league champions Prisons Kenya trounced KDF by 3-1. For Sunday Express, I'm Daniel Mutindwa.
Now, moving on is that the spouse of the Deputy President, Pastor Dorcas Rigathi, joined the Kenyan contingent during the colorful grand opening ceremony of this year's Special Olympics World Games in Berlin, Germany. The Kenyan team, comprising 66 athletes, will take part in 26 disciplines, among them beach volleyball, handball, badminton, and athletics. Games will end on the 25th of this month.
Germany to cheer up the 7,000 participants during the official opening of the Special Olympics World Games. Pastor Dorcas, who is the patron of the Special Olympic Kenya, which is in line with the vision of her office of a dignified future for vulnerable populations, said the Special Olympics will use sports to unify and protect vulnerable people in the society. Pastor Dorcas was accompanied by Kenyan Ambassador to Germany Thomas Amolo, Special Olympic Kenya Chairman Thuo Chege, and Kipipiri MP Mohia Wanjiko. The Kenyan team will take part in 26 disciplines, namely beach volleyball, handball, volleyball, badminton, and athletics, among others. The Special Olympics World Games will end on 25th of this month. Kingori Mwangi for Sunday Express.
Now, rally drivers John Gogeko, driven by Josiah Kariuki, and Gerald Miner, navigated by Ken Ontere, both driving Subaru N10s, will be competing in this year's WRC Safari Rally Kenya after receiving sponsorship from BankBet. The two are among several Kenyan drivers who have been sponsored in the past 2 weeks ahead of the Safari Rally, set to start on the 22nd of this month at the Uhuru Park, with the first stage at Kasarani and end in Naivasha on the 25th of this month. The Safari Rally celebrates its 70th anniversary, 3 years since the event returned to the World Rally Championship calendar. KBC Channel 1 will televise live 5 stages of the Safari Rally Kenya, 1 on Thursday, 2 on Saturday, and 2 on Sunday.
100%. Unakwanga umejipanga, lakini sometimes unapata maybe gari ukifanya testing, kama tulikuwa testing leo asubuhi develop shida, but mechanics wetu wanasort hiyo shida, tuone kama tamaliza leo.
To enter safari is very difficult. Without corporate sponsorship, you can't. WRC is a whole new different level, and the guys at the bottom, young Kenyan talent at the bottom, basically without no funds, you have no exposure. This is a very expensive sport. So we were looking for people who are hungry, eager to drive, but maybe don't have the full resources and they need a little boost. So these guys were the perfect fit into our program.
Now on to the fairways, where Kanwal Sian was crowned champion of the inaugural edition of the New Gen Golf Day tournament held at the Mutindwa Golf Club with a score of 45 Stableford points. Manoj Bhatti and Sonia Patel won the men's and ladies titles with a score of 40 and 42 points respectively. The event was organized to share ideas on the digital services that are connecting people around the world.
Kanwal Sian is the champion of the inaugural New Gen Golf Day tournament. Sian won the overall title with a score of 45 points, beating Mehul Devani, who won the runners-up trophy. Manoj Bhatti and Sonia Patel won the men and ladies titles with a score of 40 and 42 points respectively. Kavit Baku was the gross winner, while Shaila Mouladad took home the ladies runners-up prize. Ashish Malhotra managed a score of 39 points to emerge the New Gen winner, beating David Iugeta and John Gashora, who had to settle for the runners-up and third place positions respectively. Audrey Gashora was the junior winner. Over 200 golfers competed in the one-day tournament that was organized to share ideas on the digital services that are connecting people around the world. The players who competed in the event were drawn from banks, insurance companies and other enterprises, and were not only competing for the lucrative prizes on offer, but were also keen to network through their various talent. The New Gen Golf Tournament, which will now be an annual event, will be played in various countries in Africa as the team seeks to instill new business ideas in the new players in the market. The winners plus the other players were recognized to have played an integral role in promoting business through sports, with the New Gen company seeking to invest more in African countries, having already set up base in 30 nations in the continent, including Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria and South Africa.
And that's the sport for tonight. And remember to join us bright and early tomorrow at 10 a.m. where we shall be discussing the preview of the WRC Safari Rally 2023 with veteran journalist Daudi Kanja and rally navigator Kigo Kareithi. And also we'll be talking a little bit of rugby and give you a touch of the drivers who are there. But right now, time for me to leave, and Regina Manyara is going to be hosting the Deputy Director at the Directorate of Children's Services, Philip Nzenge, and it is about safeguarding children's well-being in crisis situations. Have a good evening. My name is Daniel Wahome. Over to you, Ray.
It is the cup with the golden ticket. Mozart Bet Cup, 2 million shillings. CAF Confederations Cup. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet Cup.
Nimekuwa nikisoma mambo mingi. Eita unieleze, mimi ni friend yako ndo tutaelewana.
Nimeoa bala, nimeoa Mswahili ndo anifunze Kiswahili. Ngeli ya lakini wewe ni bala unaniletea hapa.
Sukuma wiki sasa ni sukuma tatu. Ona ni ngapi? Wangaja.
Wewe unapeleka wapi?
Sio sema mimi nakuona kusema ukweli. Mpaka nashindwa sasa. Kana igiria wapi? Hakuje mpyo hiyo mambo hakuna ya kuweza. Mambo ni mzuri sasa.
Good evening, you're still watching Sunday Express. It is Father's Day and we're still honoring those men who actually are intentional and present about playing that particular role. And talking about children and child protection is our conversation tonight in regard amid emerging emergencies. And to take us through this conversation is none other than Philip Nzenge, who's the Deputy Director, the Directorate of Child Services. Karibu sana, sir. Happy Father's Day.
Thanks a lot.
Maybe let's start from there. What did you do for this particular day?
This is a day when I do reflection on being a father, what it really means, and I take a stock of how far I've done, where I've not done it well. I just challenge myself to hike the game.
Very well said. And you've set the pace of this conversation. When we're talking about what is the need of actually shoring capacities among our children amid emerging emergencies?
It means the children themselves to be well aware and to be prepared that life can have shocks and can have eventualities, and things can change as they grow up. So there is a need for them to be prepared together with the guardians and the people who take care of them, including the government and other agencies, that they can support the children at all given times.
Well, you know, whenever you talk about emergencies, we're talking about man-made calamities that include even acts of terror. We're also talking about natural calamities like drought and such, but we never are considerate of the fact on how this actually directly affects children and child protection. With this particular program, exactly what is being done to, you know, to increase capacity, especially I'm hearing sensitization?
Yeah, thank you. What you're saying is very true. Over a long time, people have not focused on ensuring children are ready and they are well capacity built. They are sensitized that many things can happen. And I can say this is a time when the government has come out strongly and looked at what happens whenever the calamities strike. And as you know, we have different types of calamities. We have what we call natural, and we also have the man-made. And both of them, they have effects to the child. However, many times we have put a lot of input to issues like the humanitarian support, but we have not put a lot to the child protection. And this is the time now, the country, through the Directorate of Children Services, we have come up with operational guidelines for child protection during emergencies.
Now that you've put it that way, we have this lag. It seems that the Directorate of Children's Services has, you know, identified the lag, or rather the missing link when it comes to matters of child protection and child rights. Often we interchange them, children's rights, child protection. Now let's look at one of the issues that we're dealing with right now, and I don't know if we call it, it's man-made or such. We're looking at the situation where children are witnesses to gender-based violence within the family. Does this follow, or rather fall into these emergent situations that you're finding out?
Thank you, Regina. What we are seeing is whenever we are talking of emergency, we as well look at the magnitude. Because that's why you hear people talking of pandemic and epidemic.
Yes.
So many times, a situation can escalate because it's actually a disruption of life. And the moment it is that disruption in a bigger magnitude, it means that it has to be classified. However, it is very important that to know all the emergencies has to be declared by the government.
Okay.
And we don't have that mandate to declare. But there are issues which can lead to emergency.
So from statistics, what I'm hearing is that we have not gotten to that magnitude for gender-based violence within the family setup to actually declare it a pandemic or an emergency issue, looking at child protection and child rights. But then let's come back and look at the overall effect. We're still reeling from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic there. And we saw many families, a majority, some lost their source of income. children actually even got sick. Right now, we have been warned by the Ministry of Health that we might having another re-emergence of this particular virus. How then do we, enhance or sharp capacity for children in light of this situation?
Yeah, in look of COVID-19, which was actually a serious pandemic to this country and to the world in general, it caught everybody off the plans. And that's one among the main things which moved the government to think on how best can we ensure that children will not find themselves into this. I'm happy, Regina, you have mentioned a very serious issue, and mostly we call it sexual gender-based violence amongst the children.
Yes.
During the COVID-19, a lot of children were exposed to that abuse. They were abused sexually, because there was also issue of a lot of, and many children now, they resorted to what we call the digital environment. And they could even find pedophiles there, and some could rule them. That time, I think I was working in Mombasa, and we could find so many youth coming to Mombasa through the digital world.
Yes.
So whenever the emergency comes, there are other factors which comes in. And one of them is you have the gender-based, you have the child labor, and also the mental health, issue of the psychosocial. I remember children during the COVID-19, they could ask, is the world coming to an end?
Yes.
And you remember, Regina, when they went back to school, there were so many of the unrest in school because of the mental instability, and because the mental well-being was not good. And that's why we are saying, as the government, we need to have a guideline when such happens, that the children can be capacity built through them and the people work with them, including the Minister of Education and any other person who works there with the children. The churches are there to provide the psychosocial support. And that's what actually we are looking to, because we discovered that many children and others, they left the schools because the parents, they lost their livelihood. And time the emergency comes, you'll find that there is a disruption of the normal setup of the family. So basically, that's what we are doing as the government.
Now, it seems that this is not a program or an initiative that government is going alone at. As you've said, you've mentioned churches and schools. Who else is within this program?
In this intervention of having the guidelines and the tool in which the data, because that's another problem we are facing. Data. We are not getting exactly what is happening. Yes. And sometimes we are reacting. We are not prepared. So we are working with other stakeholders. We have the NGOs. We have international NGOs, local NGOs. We have also the community-based organizations, like we have the UNICEF, and we have worked with them to come up with operational guidelines. So we are working with everybody, including the media. I remember when we'll be launching this document on Thursday, the media will have to play a critical role. And we are happy that you have given us the space to ensure that we communicate, we educate the community on what is really happening. So we are working with everybody, because it's very clear. According to the Children's Act 2022, it is very clear that a child protection is a collective responsibility. Yes. Cannot be left to the father nor to the mother. And that's very clear, even with the Constitution. So that is basically, we are saying everybody, and that's why we are so excited when you give us this space, that we tell everybody, look here, there is this child suffering. Can you be of help? Yeah.
I think that takes us back to the fact that children, even in African tradition, is that children belong to the community, and you had the sole responsibility as an individual towards a child who doesn't even belong to you. But the way it is, urbanization, enculturation and such, it is quite, your child is your own, mine is my own, I'm dealing with my own problems. And that might actually be one of the hurdles to having this particular intervention work. How are you going to circumvent that?
Yeah, Regina, what we have as the government through the Directorate of Children's Services, we have what we call after care. That is care reforms, which one thing they are doing is we have to move out of an institution and children to belong to the community. If you allow me, I would like to actually to encourage the fathers who are listening to me as I say happy our day, that there are so many children who cannot say happy Father's Day because they don't have a father. And I am challenging every man that let's look at those children and let them be maintained and retained in the community by being supported. We have different ways. We have what we call fostering. We have the kinship. We have, if it's a Muslim, we have what we call kafar. So we have how it is done. And we have the tools to ensure that the child will not suffer when the child is in the community.
We work together. And I like what you have brought forth, and also some just checking some of our feedback that we're getting, you know, on our social media platforms. There are ladies who are arguing that they've had to take up that role of being the father in the absence, you know, in the absence of, you know, the men that they sad the children with. In such a setup, now that you've brought up that now you've challenged men to actually pick up this mantle and become responsible. What of these women who are doubling up? You know, I know it's Father's Day and such, but it's just a comment that has been raised. They feel they have been left out in this day.
Actually, I agree with you. We cannot discuss men without women. That's done. So when you have a discussion of men, even to take the responsibility, we have also to ensure that the women are brought because they support. There is no family without a man and a woman. So basically, I challenge the community. Let's not think the idea of bringing children or looking at the children. You might not have brought them, but it's a responsibility for a man to ensure that the community is peaceful and you give the hand the much you can. Some children, they are only looking for somebody only to be guided, to be advised, but nobody. I've heard actually men, women saying now, where will I take my son? Who will talk to my son?
For mentorship.
And the men we are here, I want to challenge ourselves. Let's see how can we mentor these boys to be responsible men in future. Otherwise, we have let them, they don't know if they are men or they are what.
Good question. Now, 30 seconds, we're having this launch on Thursday. Parting shots, sir.
Thank you. I want to say that on Thursday, we're having the launch of these operational guidelines. And this is a game changer because the emergency is never prepared. It can be to anybody. We have seen the countries around Kenya, and we have seen what happens. This time round, it's my request as a representative of the government, when this document, these guidelines are out, let every other stakeholders stick and use these guidelines for the best interest of the child of this great nation. Thank you.
Very well said. We have been speaking about child protection amid emerging emergencies, and that particular guideline, as mentioned here by our guest tonight, is going to be out on Thursday. I'm Regina Manyara. My guest has been none other than Philip Nzenge, the Deputy Director at the Directorate of Children Services. Happy Father's Day. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. Let's meet when we cannot avoid.